Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So, for some time, I've been advocating pulling money from stocks or bonds. And I say advocating because I am not a financial advisor. I can't advise anybody to do this, but I advocate this. All right, so I've advocated pulling money from stocks and bonds, which support the capitalist supremacy, and instead investing in precious metals, primarily gold and silver. I had predicted that these would increase significantly in value eventually. Even if not, they're far safer investments because even if they lose value, that loss is limited. If you lose money in stocks, you can lose everything. And the same is true for bonds. Bonds are a little bit safer, but not completely safe. All right, so as of this past week, gold and silver have risen sharply in value as investors pull funding from the stock market and lose faith in the future stability of the U.S. dollar. Now, as of this moment, gold is sitting at $1,950.36 an ounce. Silver is at $24.46. So while I was compiling this information, gold was $1947.84 an ounce, and silver was at $24.25. All right, so at those numbers, gold, that was an increase of $517.79, or 36.35%. That's a 1-year increase. For silver, there was an increase of $7.69 an ounce, or 46.76% increase in value. So in terms of percentage, silver is outpacing gold by a considerable amount. Now, precious metals have commercial industrial applications. However, global manufacturing has virtually collapsed in the past few months and will only collapse further as economic conditions intensify. Now, the decreased use would seem to suppress the market, and indeed it actually does. So this indicates that the increase in price is purely via investment at this time. However, if prices remain elevated and production does increase in the future, it will cause an even steeper increase in precious metals pricing. The value of precious metals in the West have been highly manipulated and suppressed by certain entities like J.P. Morgan, who was shown to own roughly 80% of silver investments for years. Now, with their liquidity dissolving, that control has slipped and will only continue to deteriorate. So, silver mining firms have had mines shut in for some time with the value not being worth the cost of extraction, with the price being artificially suppressed. Now that silver is rising again, some of those mines are being reactivated. One might think that the increased production will force the price down. But that is not true because of futures trading and the fact that precious metals dealers are completely out of stock of gold and silver. You know, now in some cases they are taking pre-orders at current prices. So that means the price is going to remain stable or continue to increase for quite some period of time. Now, many people are claiming that the Chinese renminbi, the yuan, is going to collapse because people in China are withdrawing large sums of money from banks. Now, do not confuse bank failure with currency failure. They are two distinct, separate things. All right, the value of any currency is determined by trading and spending. In other words, the velocity of the currency. Even if the renminbi reduces in value, it can only decline to a limited degree because the renminbi is backed by precious metals, primarily gold. This means that the increase of precious metals pricing literally makes that currency more stable in comparison to fiat currencies like the dollar. Now, much of the same thing holds true for the Russian ruble. Both Russia and China have been stockpiling gold for years. Now, allegedly, the U.S. has a massive stockpile of gold, but the last estimate on the value of that stockpile owned by the U.S. government was $11 trillion. Meanwhile, we're, at least $24 trillion in debt. So even if we've got that stockpile, it's less than half of our debt. So it doesn't back up the value of the dollar at all. All right? Precious metals tend to be inflation and recession proof. If the value of the dollar declines, as it is doing now, prices on consumer goods will increase. However, metals are valued on the international market. If we see a decline in the value of the dollar of 10%, that means the price of a given metal will increase by the same amount. If the value of the dollar declines by 10%, for an example, then what if you paid $10 an ounce for silver previously, then the price of silver would go up to $11. Okay? Now, some speculators and experts in precious metals believe that metals can increase in value far more than we see now, and I agree. I have been agreeing with this for years. They believe that gold could easily rise to $3,000 an ounce. I can see that happening. Some claim silver can reach as high as $30 an ounce or even $50 an ounce. I think somewhere in between is most likely on silver. But we may see these numbers within the next 2 years or less if things continue as they have been. Excuse me. Obviously, there will be some volatility involved as investors hoard and then are forced to sell or they sell for short-term profit rather than long-term gain. We've seen this happen with stocks, metals, and cryptocurrencies in the recent past. Now, I still advise against metals, certificates, or funds. Many of these funds claim to hold your metals in some vault, yet have been shown to not have the amount of metals that they claim to possess. When investors have tried to cash in their investment for the physical metal, especially gold, they meet with resistance, in some cases for over a year, and eventually winding up in court in order to take possession of the physical metals. Now, these funds are highly leveraged, selling far more than is in their possession. Some, I'm sure, are on the level, but the problem is you don't know until it's too late. All right, if we see a run on banks in the U.S., there will also be a run on metals depositories. If they are too highly leveraged, it means that they will declare bankruptcy, and you, as an investor, will lose whatever money you have deposited. Meanwhile, their corporate executives will walk away with massive bonuses. I'm not saying not invest in metals at this time, even though they're out of stock. If you do invest in metals, only invest in physical metals which you hold in your possession. It will have to be at least an intermediate to long-term investment, as you will not receive the physical metals for some time at this point. By the time you do, it will likely already be increased in value, such as if you pre-order right now, then by the time you receive that order, chances are the value of silver, etc., will be much higher, so you've already made a return on investment. Okay? But even if it decreases slightly, I'd hold on to it long term as a secure hedge against inflation, recession, and the fall of the dollar. Just be sure that you have a safe and secure place to keep it if you do buy physical metals. Make sure it's actually a secure place. Okay? So, we're watching right now, the stock market up and down, and just a moment. We saw declines in the stock market last week. The stock market is so volatile, you have no idea what's coming. And right this minute, all of the subsidies and eviction moratoriums, they are ending this week. Within the next 4 days. So what happens from there is anyone's guess. It doesn't look, they haven't passed any bailout as yet. They've had different things circulating, but we have no idea if they'll pass something. I know that. We all know they'll pass something, but what? What will it mean to the real economy? So be careful with any investments, etc. But I still find precious metals to be one of the best things. Even the price of diamonds is manipulated by De Beers. And in truth, diamonds are not worth as much as they are claimed to be, and I'm against diamonds on ethical grounds anyway. You've all heard of, I'm pretty sure, of blood diamonds, and if you're not, then look it up. All right, so please share this video, talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel. I thank you again, Mary Jones Giampaolo, very, very much. You are my biggest supporter. Financially, I appreciate it more than I can say. All right, so that's going to be it for this one. I hope you all have a good day.